All right. Good afternoon, students, teachers, staff, and those that are tuning in. I am Phil Davis with the Canisius College Academic Talent Search Program, and thank you all for joining us today for another virtual career day. I'm going to turn it over to our career change guru, my brother, Mr. Sam Hill. Thank you again for taking the time to introduce us to another great professional that are doing great things and that can inspire our students and tell them a little bit about what they do. So I'm gonna turn it over to you, Mr. Sam Hill.
All right, thank you, Mr. Davis. And hello, everyone, and welcome to another career fair. Again, my name is Sam Hill, also known as Career Change Guru. And today we have Kasib Abdullah with us. Kasib is actually a VP with BP, and his title is VP of Natural Gas, Liquids, and Marketing. So how you doing, Kasib?
I'm doing well, Mr. Hill. So
Yeah,
am I calling you Mr. Hill or Sam? What do you prefer?
You can call me Sam. You can call me Sam. Yeah, that was a tongue twister for me, so I'm sorry. But yes, VP, National Gas, Liquids, Marketing, and you work for BP. So if you don't mind, just tell folks about your organization, BP, and then we'll just talk about your story.
Okay. Yeah, as Sam mentioned, I am the Vice President of Natural Gas Liquids Marketing. And basically what that is, I'm in charge of I lead a team of individuals who trade natural gas liquids. And when I mean trade, I mean money is being exchanged for the buying and selling of a commodity. And this commodity is natural gas liquids, which consists of propane, which can be used to heat homes, fuel cars, butane, which can be used for actual food as a feedstock for like propellants that go into a can of hairspray or for a can of, say, PAM. And we buy and sell all across North America, including Canada and Mexico. And our job is to optimize every barrel that is produced. So we're trying to make money by either saving costs, our transportation costs to get the product to and from where it needs to be, by finding cheap supply somewhere that's dislocated from a particular market and then matching that up with a customer short, meaning a customer who needs energy. And so that's what we do. BP, also known as British Petroleum, home base is in London. Their North American home base is in Houston, Texas, which is where I'm living.
Yeah.
So
now, Kasib, would BP be a rival of Speedway or Mobile? Because that's what's here in Buffalo.
Yeah, good question. So I would say BP is a super major oil and gas producer, global oil and gas producer. So our rivals are ExxonMobil, which you see in the streets of Buffalo and the surrounding area. Total, which is more of a French company. Shell, which is a Dutch company, but has stations all over. And so what you see on the corners in the Buffalo metro area are service stations. And that's part of our downstream business, where the job is to get gasoline to the market for consumption. But that's just a small piece of what BP is. But Speedway is actually just a retail gasoline market with service stations. And we actually just acquired them.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So not a competitor.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Okay. All right. Good to know. So let's talk about your journey. Let's talk about, if you can, just high level, where you grew up, and then let's go right into like your education.
Okay. Well, born in New Jersey, but I've lived in Chicago. I moved to Chicago when I was 7. So I call Chicago is where I grew up. That's where you did your middle school and your high school. And actually, I was pretty good at architectural drafting. I went to a vocational high school where you could learn a trade or college prep. And I did both. And so when I graduated from high school, a school called Chicago Vocational High School on the south side of Chicago, I wanted to be an architect. Won some contests in the city, competing, drawing, building models. And from there, I developed this passion for it. Ended up going to Tuskegee University, historically Black college and university in Alabama, primarily because one, I wanted to go south, get out of the Chicago, get out of the cold. I know what you Buffalonians go through. Two, they were one of the few historically Black colleges and universities that had an architecture program. And three, I read books about Tuskegee. I loved the history, whether it was the Tuskegee Airmen, the Tuskegee Experiment, George Washington Carver and developing the peanut. There's all this history, and I was going to have a chance to be around people who looked like me, who had similar values to me, that were competitive, all about their education, but we enjoyed the same thing. We had a lot of things in common. So that's why I chose Tuskegee. Started off as an architecture major. I was voted best first year student in architecture, but I had an epiphany kind of when I got to my third year that I didn't want to just draw. I was afraid I would just be a draftsman, and I wanted to actually build and manage construction projects. So I switched to construction science and management. That's what I graduated in. And I probably spent 4 years out of college managing service station construction projects.
Okay. So let's talk about the college experience, right? Historically Black college and universities, HBCUs. We're talking to high school students right now that will need to make some decisions. And so, do you promote HBCUs? Talk about I know the answer, but talk about that experience.
Yeah, so I promote education and people continuing their education. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in college. It could be you want to learn a trade. And that's perfectly fine. As long as you're continuing to get better, you're continuing to invest time in yourself to be better. So for college, and I have this debate with my colleagues and friends who also have kids who are just entering college or preparing to go to college, and should an African American kid consider an HBCU? I say absolutely yes, they should, but they don't have to choose it. I lean more toward the HBCU, and I'm not sure the population in terms of demographics of these high school students we're servicing right now, but it applies. When you come out of college, you enter the workforce, most likely you will be a minority. That is society. And so if we're 12, 13% of the population, you would expect 12, 13% of the population at some big corporation to be African American. And you have your entire career to be surrounded in an environment where you're the minority. But for these 4 or 5 years, hopefully 4, whatever it takes to graduate, you are surrounded by individuals who look like you, have some of the same things that you enjoy doing, that their whole program is designed to nurture you as an African American student to prepare you to compete in this world. I find that very hard to go against. And that was welcoming to me. It was welcoming to my daughter, who's 19, who's a freshman at Howard University. And she considered the predominantly white institutions, and she considered HBCUs. And she wanted to go this route. And I commend her for it. It was her decision. I'll support it, as long as she had sound reasoning. But once I got there, it's something that I can't define or describe. The feeling when you arrive somewhere, you are like, this is where I'm supposed to be at. No doubt. There's no doubt that you shouldn't be right here. in that, one, we're beautiful people, and you're surrounded by this many beautiful people. The music that you like is people coming from all over the world that look like you, that it just so many things that touch you. And then you get into the academics.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. So let's talk about your break into the industry, because I think you said once you graduated, you kind of went into the retail side of the gas business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was that like? So that's really like on the gas stations, right?
Yeah. So it's interesting because your title is the career change guru. I don't know if that was self-titled or someone gave it to you, but I love it because that's sort of been my.
It's a little bit of both, man. I had to think about it. I've had a lot of jobs, but
Right.
but it's all good.
Yeah, it's a journey. So it actually started when I was in college. So I just finished my freshman year, and part of the program was you should try to land 2 internships in your 4 years of college, right? Professional internships to get career experience. And so I was just applying for a job at Amical Oil, where my dad worked, just to work in the mailroom, delivering mail, just some basic job that they would give a 17, 18-year-old. And they actually were making these jobs available for employees' kids. And I went in, probably 30, 40 of us, and they had 6 jobs. I didn't get selected. But I got a call from a person that says, I saw on your resume that you're an architecture major, and we need somebody to do AutoCAD, doing drawings on a computer. And AutoCAD was pretty new back then. I said, yep, I have experience. I would love for it to have, pursue the opportunity. And so they actually brought me in as an intern. And that's when I started drawing and getting paid. And I was like, wow, this is pretty nice. Good money. In my field. I got my first internship. I think I'm big time. But that's where I actually found out that I didn't want to be an architect. I was very nervous about graduating, having a 5-year degree in architecture, and I would be drawing service stations for a living.
Okay.
And the drawings, so architect would design the station, they would actually go out and build it, and then they would mark up the drawings and say, well, this is actually how we built it. And they would send them back to me, and I would go in AutoCAD and make the revisions, the edits. I then said I wanted to be on the side where they were actually building it, seeing the finished product, and telling them this is how it was built, and managing all of the stages of the construction. So that mail job that I was trying to get turned into this architecture intern, which turned into me changing my major, which turned into me doing something coming out of school. So the theme is be willing to change, to not be afraid, to just be resilient, keep pushing forward. You never know where this journey is going to take you. But, the things you control is pick a degree or field that requires you to be a critical thinker. If you can be a critical thinker, you can solve problems. If you can solve problems and you're a critical thinker, you can lead. If you can do those 3 things, you can actually do well in life, no matter what journey you take.
Yeah. So take us. Now you're out. You graduated, right? And you kind of figured out where you want to be regarding your career. Now, kind of walk us through those steps that have gotten you to the VP role. Because sounds like you started from the bottom, huh?
Yeah, I did. And I guess I could have almost the bottom, but close enough to the basement. And so it was ambition, right? Having a desire to want to keep improving your place in life, taking on new responsibilities. I learned this. Oh, what else can I learn?
Yeah.
Oh, never knew I could do that. But all of a sudden I'm mastering that. What else can I learn? Who else can I talk to? So it consisted of a journey, right? And so while I'm in college, I have this internship, and I find out for some other interns that the company recruits at certain schools. My school was one of them. And the recruiters needed someone to help them when they get on campus. And so the recruiters are coming from Chicago. They go into a rural town, Tuskegee, which is, four traffic lights in the whole town, maybe a little bit more than that, but it's really rural, really country. And they're out of their element. I was like, I can help them when they get down there. I have it all set up, the conference room. I'll have food catered in for them. I'll get the promotional material out to let students know that Amoco Oil recruiter is coming in town. So they don't have to do that. They can get there, show up, and go to work. To do that, I had to go talk to the vice president of marketing and pitch it to him. He was like, okay. And guess what? He came down with his wife visiting and was like, wanted to have lunch with me and talk about what I'm doing for the school. I was like, cool. Fast forward to where I am, I'm a vice president of marketing. And it was me pitching an idea to him. He's retired, actually he just passed away a couple of years ago. But it was just that ambition to want to like, hey, I see a problem. I can help you with your problem. At the same time, I get help because they pay me for that. And I actually get to expand my network and get to know the vice president of marketing when I'm a college student. So just driving, just asking questions, meeting new people, exploring ideas, pitching ideas. That's how I journeyed through the organization. And then I had a lot of stops along the way. Got my MBA, and I got my MBA because I was tired of engineering, my master's in business. And I wanted to get into marketing because I thought that's where I had better career growth. That actually was more my passion than architecture or engineering ever was. And so I pitched the idea. If I go and pursue my MBA, will you give me a shot at a marketing job, sales and marketing? The guy that was my boss's boss was like, yeah, I'll give you a shot at it. I've been in sales and marketing now. I'm 30 years into my career. Only 4 years I was not in sales and marketing.
Okay. Wow. So, I know a little bit about your journey, right? And even on your bio shared that you took a 5-year break from BP. So talk to us about the why. Why did you take the 5-year break? What made you want to explore another organization or another field?
Good question. So the first driver was I was with a company since I was 18. And I did 4 summer internships, and then I worked for the company 10 years after that. So a combined 14 years, but 10 real full-time years with the company. So the only organization I ever known was this particular company. The only industry was oil and gas. And the second driver was that I wanted to go somewhere where they would really hone in on develop my selling skills. How to make a big capital instrument. So a sale that requires a lot more capital up front, long-term deals that take a long sales cycle, long lead time to close. I wanted to develop those skills. Second, I wanted to be rewarded. I wanted to be paid for my performance. If I go out and sell more than what they wanted me to, will they compensate me for it? So that was the other driver. And so I actually left my company, took a 20% pay cut, all because if I sold more, they would pay me way more than the company I was with. I said, I'll gamble on myself, but it's not just gambling on myself. I was investing in myself because I said the first driver was I wanted to improve my selling skills. And so that was an investment in myself, a little bit of a gamble on if I could perform, and if I would perform, then I would get paid. And so second year, I had a baby. My wife and I, we had our child, and I was living off the credit card for a little bit. I was not a 20% pay cut. Hey, Sam, are we still on?
I can see you, but you're frozen a little bit.
Hey, can you hear me? You got me? Okay, sorry. So it was a rough time because I was learning a new field in a new industry, healthcare industry. And I was in a new city. I'm living in San Antonio. I have a new baby. And I'm trying to provide for my family. And I'm not selling anything. But after year 2, I stopped the bleeding in my territory, meaning I wasn't losing customers and losing business. I was adding to the sales funnel, getting more sales, and actually ranked in the top 20% of all sales reps in the country, and was rewarded with the monetary means. But they also paid for a 5-day all expense paid vacation for my wife and I to Bermuda. And I was like, wow, I've never experienced this. They actually paid me for hunting, for bringing in dollars for the company. And so I was hooked on that. Didn't think it would be a career in terms of I could do that for the next 25 years. And they moved me to Houston. So I'm living in Houston, and Houston is considered the oil and gas capital of the world. Started talking to colleagues at BP, letting them know what I've been doing and what I was interested in. They gave me a shot to come back, and I started selling propane, which is a natural gas liquid.
Wow. Now talk about really quick before we get it back into BP, like when you were selling those big ticket capital items, what was it like to be in a sales role like that? Just talk a little bit more about the pressure and the grind of it, the stress of it, just so that our audience understands what it's like to be in a sales type role.
Yeah, so it's good and bad, or not bad. It has its challenges like any role. So one, you work from home. And so nobody's getting you up.
You told me about that. You said, Sam, make sure you get dressed every day.
Yeah, whether you going to see a hospital, your customer or not, you put on that button-down shirt, tie, and jacket, and that's the first thing. You put your uniform on. You don't walk on the basketball court or the football field without the proper gear.
Yeah.
Get into the mindset. Know that you're going to get told no more than yes. And that they're going to tell you no today, and they're going to tell you no tomorrow, and they're going to tell you no the next week. But you're going to get up, put that suit on, and go out there, because today they're going to tell you yes.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to be in there. And a lot of people, not a lot of adults, are used to people telling them no. And not a lot of people are used to saying no when people ask of them. So you learn to deal with that. And you actually start asking yourself, is it me? What am I not doing? Why are my teammates selling and I'm not selling? Let me go talk to them, see what they're doing. Why does this work? Why doesn't this work? So you start refining your approach, building your resolve, being resilient. And then they see you every day or once a week. Oh, here comes Mr. Abdullah. What's he going to talk to me about today? And you change it up. You just start asking them questions. You don't sell them anything. You ask them, you're trying to uncover what their problems are. You're trying to get them to tell you what they need. Match their problems and their needs with whatever you're selling. Now you have features matched up with their needs. You actually created a benefit for them. And if you can get them to say, hey, your product would solve this, and you don't say it, they said it, golden. What do we sign? So that is tough. But then you also, again, we started off, you need to always learn. I'm learning the industry, I'm learning this equipment. Actually, the COVID-19 test, the rapid test, that's an Abbott Labs test. If I was still at Abbott Labs with that company, I would be selling that test to hospitals right now.
Cha-ching.
And I don't even have to sell it. They just call me up and say, hey,
they're calling you.
Order. Yeah, you have to wait. We're on back order. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they calling me, but you had to sell to pathologists, medical directors, doctors, laboratorians. I didn't take much biology. I couldn't tell you what an assay was, or a reagent, antibody, or antigen. I had to learn these things. I'm well into my professional life, and I'm learning new subject material so that I can go stand in front of them and sell my product. So that's the challenge. But nothing, everything gained is worth, you have to struggle for. I think it's worth it.
All right, good, cool. So now you go back to BP. You've added several skills and competencies to your tool belt, and now you're back at BP. And so talk to us now about your current role. What's the day in life of being, natural gas, liquids, and marketing? What is that like?
So I won't even talk about natural gas liquids. I just talk about a commodity. I'm in the commodity business, buying and selling the commodity. So for your high school students, just think of the apple market. We'll just come up with a commodity. Apples. Whatever your
apples as a fruit or apples as a device?
Both, but this is apples as a fruit.
Okay.
So what do we call it? The granny apples or whatever, right? If I have an apple and I'm offering to sell my apple to you for 50 cents, and you're like, your bid, meaning you're buying, your bid is 45 cents. We have this 50 cents to 45, 5-cent spread. You and I are trying to figure out what the right price is, what the market price is for that apple. Well, now introduce 1,000 more buyers and sellers. Now we have all of these different offers and all of these different bids, and somebody comes in and says, hey, I'm willing to buy 100 apples for 47 cents each. The price, and the seller is willing to sell it for 47 cents. The new market price is established, 47 cents. My team, we're trying to establish market price every day for the commodity we sell. In this case, we're selling apples. And you as a buyer, you're in the applesauce or the apple selling business. You're trying to buy it at the cheapest price you can, but you want to make sure you're at least buying it at market. So every day we're trying to figure out what market is. We're looking at the weather. We have two meteorologists. We're trying to determine how harvest season is going to be. Was it a dry summer? Was it a wet summer? Is frost going to set in early where it's going to force the farmers to pick their apples early? And then you're talking about transportation. Well, guess what? Gasoline prices, just like crude oil prices, are low right now. So maybe the cost to move the apples from the farm to the warehouse, distribution center, to the grocery store, that transportation cost is cheaper. So maybe market price has changed some. Now we're looking at arbitrage. Arbitrage is, say, Washington State apples versus Michigan State apples. Washington State's got fires up there and they don't have their production is down. So now those who need apples from the state of Washington, the price of apples have gone up because it's not a lot of supply. But Michigan had a great year, and Michigan's apples are cheap because there's so much supply. Well, I need to get the Michigan apples and get them to Washington, and I need to figure out the transportation costs. What's the cheapest transportation? That's the decision we make every day. Wow. It just happens to be propane, butane, natural gas liquids, but that is the commodity buying and selling business.
Okay. So as a leader, you know, what are you looking for whenever you're adding team members? And then what are some of those attributes that separate good performers? We can pay them, but then like some of the extraordinary performers, the high performers, the ones that you see with so much with potential that they may replace you one day.
Yeah,
So
good
what
question.
are some of those things you see, and I would just want to talk about accountability.
So if I'm recruiting, I'm looking for, okay, is that person competent? Do they have the potential to learn? And then are they a good teammate? So if you're excellent in your work product that you put out, but you are a poor performing teammate, you don't know how to look out for the team versus just your own self. So in my world, I have an individual who only cares about his apples in Michigan, but we're in the apple selling business all across North America. Help the people out over here, help your teammate out over here. Help them solve a problem. Because I believe together we make better decisions than the one individual by itself. So you have to be a good teammate. You have to care about what you're doing. You always have to be trying to learn more. So that's what I'm looking for. And then in terms of expectations and accountability. So as a leader, I need to set clear expectations about what I need from them. Set those expectations for myself in terms of what I'm responsible for giving my team to thrive and grow and develop. And then we hold each other accountable. And that is holding each other accountable. So everybody has to do their part. It's a team, whether it's a sports team, it's the military, or in corporate America. We have to thrive as a team. And we pay the high performer. We're gonna reward you with bonus dollars, and we're gonna differentiate you from the average performer with monetary and getting them the resources they need. So we have a way of rewarding the high performer. It's a lot. It doesn't just have to be salary and bonus. It could be a potential to lead, to grow into another role. It could be, hey, we're going to give you more resources because your high performer needs to surround them with the resources so they can keep going to the next level. So that's my style of leadership is setting expectations, holding each other accountable, collaborating as a team, and then just getting after it. Like, who's going to be with you when things are tough? Mm-hmm. When the market's not going your way? When our performance is pretty bad? Or life events happen like this pandemic or something involved in your personal life? Who's going to be there with you to see you through it? If that's what I'm looking for as a team. That's how I am as a leader.
Okay. Good. Talk about mentors. So you talked about your journey. How you've had to grow and you've invested in yourself. You also bet on yourself, right? And you won. But through that journey, have you had any mentors?
Yeah, a ton. I think through every stage, at sometimes my mentors were my peers. In college, actually in high school, I actually didn't perform as well in math as I should have. But when I got to college, my math skills improved drastically. And that was my roommate, best friend, was my mentor in math. He was not just a tutor. He's just like, hey, here's some things how I study.
Yeah. And
guess what? With math, you need to work on math every day. You can't let 3 days go by and you hadn't done anything in your math subject. It's just, it requires that constant maintenance, attention to it. And I was like, oh, that's the secret. Okay. not a day goes by, I'm not working on my math, right? And so, and then my grades started improving. Like, wow. So right then and there, I learned that you need to lean on people and you need to be there for people. And so my mentors have been, I would say, organic, where me and the individual had something in common. We had something vested in each other. And that person took an interest in me, and I was interested in what they had to say, and that they challenged me to stretch myself. They challenged me to be uncomfortable, because if you're just comfortable, you're not learning, you're not getting better. So being comfortable, being uncomfortable, they pushed me there. They didn't let me settle on just okay. And so those individuals they've come and gone, but there's been some mentor every phase of my career, every phase of college and high school. It's just that important.
Okay. Good. Going back to, say, leadership and just managing people, just if you can, just kind of teach on the difference between like technical skills and soft skills, you know. And I just want our students to understand the difference between the two, but then how important those soft skills are. You know, and so you could be the smartest person in the room, but if you don't have soft skills or people skills, then you're not going to last.
Yeah, you might last, but you may have a limited career in terms of a ceiling. Yeah. And it's a self-inflicted ceiling. No one put it on. So those soft skills, you know, you hear people talk about emotional intelligence. If you only care about, like, hey, you know what? We're going to go back to apples and say, Sam, come up with a better way to harvest apples. And you come up with this new technology and it's great, but you don't have the skills to articulate what the benefits are, the skills to go out there and share with the world this product. It's just going to remain in your shop, in your basement. The world won't benefit from it because you didn't have those necessary skills to get it out into a market. Now, technical skills, you need strong technical skills. All right, you need to know whatever field you're in, you need to understand that field. And if you don't, you need to know where you can go to get help. The soft skills are being a good teammate, letting people know how you feel, asking good questions, you know, open-ended questions, getting people to share, doing what you're doing right now. This is a soft skill exchange. I'm just talking about myself, but you got to draw it out of me. Those are skills that are transferable, no matter if you went from oil and gas to healthcare, back to oil and gas, into a post-career field. All those soft skills are what's transferable.
Gotcha. So what's next for you? What's the next move?
Next move is still growing. So now I'm vice president of marketing. I want to lead the entire team, so be the chief operating officer for our natural gas liquids trading business. And so getting after where I have gaps or shortcomings in terms of what I don't know, finding out what I don't know to help differentiate myself from my competition so that I can successfully compete for that job and win it.
Yeah.
So that's next within, I would say, in the next 2 to 3 years. The next 10 years is, what's my exit plan out of BP? What else do I want to give to the world in terms of whether it's mentoring, giving back, charitable organizations, making sure my 19-year-old daughter is ready to compete in this world. She's starting from a place of she's at the start line with everybody else or ahead of the start line.
Gotcha.
Preparing her to compete. So that's what's next for me. Those are my top priorities.
Okay. So if you were to look back to, or what advice would you give your high school self? So, you've been in the game for 30 years. If you could tell your high school self something or give yourself some tips, what would it be?
Yeah, I would validate and confirm things like whether sports or competing in some of these contests I used to compete in, where I would just do architecture drawings and build models. Sometimes I wouldn't win, I wouldn't even place. And my last year, I actually won. That's good experience.
Okay.
Keep doing that. Do more of it. Find ways to be a critical thinker. Because no matter what, that's going to help you in life. That's going to help you be self-sufficient. That's going to help you give back to the world. So find ways to work on your critical thinking. Confirm that, you getting to know people, being a good friend, that's good. That's going to take you a long way. Don't be afraid of constructive criticism and feedback. Own it, accept it, and then get after it. And then lastly, there are going to be people in your life that's going to tell you can't do this. There are going to be people that going to tell you go the safe route or go do that. You got to push through that. They may mean the world to you. They may be saying it from a place of a good-natured place. They're trying to protect you. But the world's not easy. You got to go out there and try it out, and do it for yourself, and get after it. And you know what? If you fail, that's okay. Just fail and learn. Fail fast and learn.
Yeah.
Fail before it's too big.
Yeah.
Because those are lessons. As long as you take that failure and you learn from it and you move on, then you are actually a better person for failing.
Got it.
Yeah.
So as we're rounding out, it's actually already 45 minutes in. Talk about the importance of family and friends.
Yeah.
And how family and friends have been able to whether support you or how they may push you forward. Just react to that.
Yeah, I've learned over the years, probably the last 10 years really, that I was very blessed to be in the family that I'm in. My siblings, my aunts, uncles, my parents, they all, one, pushed us to be better, to be contributing citizens to this world, to do the right thing, to have each other's back. And I know not everybody is blessed to have all those things and have that many people in my corner. And so I always had this sense of confidence that I can do anything, get after it, learn anything, because my family they didn't know how to accept anything else less than that. So that was important. But the family you don't choose. Your friends you do. Choosing good friends that have similar values and good values, meaning they want to do better, they want to be better, and they want you to do better too with them. Those individuals will help you when you find yourself thinking about going down this block because it's fun. And it's like, you know what? Let me go down this block here because this block right here it's all about our business. And it might seem not as fun, but going down this block is actually going to help me have more fun later in life.
Gotcha.
So having good friends help you prioritize and reprioritize when things get out of whack. and they pull you, they push you, and you do the same for them.
Yeah.
That is, now becomes your extended family. And now you got the best of both worlds, good friends, good family.
Yeah. Have you heard when sometimes people will say that you're the sum of the 5 closest people around you, or you're...
No, I haven't heard that, but it makes sense to me.
Okay.
And shit, you only could have 5 really close people to you anyway. You know, that if you're gonna spend the time, you know, that it's time, energy, and resources, right? To be a good friend. But yeah, I mean, you are who you hang out with, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But I like how you worded it. You are the summation of the 5 closest people you hang out with.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Right.
Oh boy. So Kasib, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. You know that you are a formal or informal mentor of mine. We've had a lot of long conversations on weekends and things like that. And you know, I always reach out to you whenever I got something hot. And so I always appreciate your counsel. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. But it goes both ways, right? When you're sharing, you're also receiving. And
Right.
So as much as I've shared with you, I've received from you too. So we actually help each other be better men, right? Whether it's taking care of our families, in our careers. Your career is one thing. You got to take care of your family.
Yes, sir.
I would say everything I said about my career, I probably want 1 sentence in my eulogy. The rest is about what I did outside of work and with my family.
Gotcha.
All right. Hey, I enjoyed it. Thank you, Mr. Davis, and best of luck to your students.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
So, Mr.
Thank you
Davis,
so much.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Brother Sam.
Oh, no, I just wanted, was there any questions or was there anything else for us?
I would say the one question that I had is if you can kind of expound more on pretty much what you just said too about your circle, how important your circle is. You know, now that you are, you know, where you are, especially as a vice president, did your circle, I wouldn't say have to change, or do you feel your circle had to change because now you've moved up to a higher position? So some of the people that you might have interacted with now, you know, you had to modify some relationships. Could you speak to that?
Yeah, so really what he's saying, do you still talk to them boys from Chicago?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, you know, the vice president of marketing, Mr. Davis, that's the title. It doesn't define who I am. You know, if my title was custodian, who I am deep down inside is still the same. So I still want to be a good custodian. I still want to be a good father, husband. I still want to be a good friend. And I do care about my job. Looks like I care about it now. I'm putting out excellent work, but it doesn't change. So my core, and the pandemic has helped too, because even some of the core that, you know, you just don't keep in touch with as much because life moved us, you know, kind of life events separated us either by distance or just, you know, things happening. Being able to reconnect with the 5 guys that were my buddies my freshman year at Tuskegee, they still my 5 guys. Now, I have expanded a little bit, like my after work or on the weekends golfing crew. You know, that's a need, and they actually had the time to golf with me, so I had that crew.
Wait, did you say golfing was a need? Did you say that?
Damn right. Use the language. So I mean, I believe in, I'll get to that golfing thing. So Mr. Davis, I believe in your network, right? So your network, you have, you see that dartboard thing? So
Absolutely.
the center of the dartboard is, those are your close people. Those are the people, hey, if you have a new baby or you had a death in the family, you're gonna talk to them first. And then as you expand each ring, that last ring are individuals that can impact me, my job, or my life 5 years from now. I may not talk to them all the time, but they have that much influence. I need to spend some time with that outer ring of people in that network. That is how my vice president of NGL marketing, that position where I am now, that's what's changed, but not who my core friends are.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I know, unfortunately, there's a lot of times where some of our students are taught or told that, as you move up, you have to leave certain people behind. And it's sometimes, obviously, if they're not good for you, you shouldn't be involved with them anyway. But if they are, your real, true friends, you know what I mean? As you move up, you all will be moving up, because you all are, on the same mind frame too. So, I'm glad you said that. And I love that dartboard analogy. I'm gonna probably steal that, just so you know.
Anytime. But one thing is like, all right, so you do have friends there are friends and associates for a certain period of time in your life. And they may be your friends because this is what you had in common. And then as you mature, evolve, if you find that, what's common is a lot less than what it was in high school, you're going to separate from them. But you may purposely separate, but a lot of times life is going to separate you from those individuals because your value systems are off now. We had friends that, we just wanted to go to clubs with, and that was the thing that was good. We knew we were going to club on Thursday through Saturday or whatever. As you mature, like, that's not my life anymore. If we don't have anything other than that in common, well, we're just going to be associates, right? So that is going to happen to your high school students. Some of their friends now will remain their friends, and some, God just put them in your life for a certain period of time, a certain chapter. And don't be okay with that. Nothing wrong with it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions out there?
Yeah, golf, Sam. It's a need. It's, work is hard, right? Life, school, all of that is you grinding 5 days, 6 days a week. What's your outlet? Everybody needs an outlet. Even when we get older, we need that outlet. And if it's an outlet that still requires physical movement, activity, that's more important to us now. Now that we got this gray.
Don't start selling that to me. You don't got to sell that to me. I don't know if your wife is around, but you don't have to sell it to me.
It's part of the contract, brother. I'm a better man when I got my outlet, a productive outlet. I'm good. We're good. We're good together. Then she back tell me you need to go play golf.
All right, so we're gonna cut it off right there, just in case we don't want to get in trouble. So we're gonna.
All right. Well, hey, I enjoyed this.
But thank you so much.
I do need to
really
run.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we're definitely better for it.
You can bring me back if you ever want to. Maybe I can do it in person.
All right, sounds good.
Right.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Okay, bye.
All right.